Welcome, everyone. My name is Nichel Anderson. Thank you so much for joining me today for my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. And this particular episode, publishing on March the 4th, 2019, here, publishing today on March 4th for episode 57, entitled Why Lies and Deceit is Not the Path to Take. So, in this particular episode, we will focus on those two concepts there and to get a better understanding of those that are in our lives that choose that path and to motivate you that you do not choose that path. Okay, so let's get started in my podcast show. In this day, I am thankful to the prime creator of all things that I give thanks for the blessing and opportunity that I will use it for the greater good. So welcome my survivors of the journey to my podcast that aims to inspire and motivate, that you will continue to have joy, peace of mind, and for your sustained success. Let's go ahead and get started in my podcast. My mission is to motivate you. That's what I have often said recently when I felt that it's the next phase in my journey, is to motivate people in a way that they feel empowered and they feel the ability that they can get the job done, that they can move through life and enjoy life. Life is a gift, and that's where I often would say I'm on purpose duty. Everybody has a purpose, everybody has a reason. Once you find that true purpose and it's within the circle of life, it brings you joy. Okay, so in this particular episode, it came to me just because in my own journey I have seen it, and it is a struggle in a sense of dealing with people that choose that path that impact you, and it can be painful. So in this particular podcast show here, where I'm talking about lies and deceit, and I often notice that people will choose that path because it benefits them one way or the other, and they need to choose a different path, right? A path of truth. And sometimes you can motivate them, influence them, and they might do it for a while and they don't. But in today's podcast, we're going to take a look of lies and deceit, why that you should avoid that, why you should identify those that partake in it and stay away from them. Okay, sometimes you have to, you end up being stuck around them for a while, but it's not forever, because you constantly have to put yourself in different gears and readjust yourself and plant different seeds that you can get out of that. It's like being trapped into reeds. Okay, you can't really do nothing with reeds but cut them off from the root. Okay, so and consistency and it's a key along with courage. So let's get to my first segment, the important point, which is number one. Now, some people feel really comfortable when they lie. Okay, lying because it covers up something that they feel is more important than their worth from the spiritual perspective, and then eventually the physical plane. So I guess it's most of the time when they lie, they aim is to get something on the physical plane, but they don't realize that you have to feed your spiritual. And I often describe to those that have different beliefs system or what have you that might be listening to this or following me. Spiritual to me is something that you feel but you don't see. Those occurrences in life that things happen and you right there are present and you know what you have done, and for some reason something occurs and happen that you can't really explain it, and that is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the spiritual. So let's talk about the second part of my segment, which is the wisdom point that I like to talk about and put out there, and that is lies and deceit does the most unknowing damage on the spiritual realm. It's spiritual damage over time. You don't actually see the lie, even though the person spoke it or what have you. The deed is done. I'm not talking about the physical thing. I'm talking about the ripple effects of it. That's what I say. You don't really see the spiritual part of it. Something that you feel but you don't see. The euphoria or the feeling of being in control of this and that of the person that did the lie and deceit. And to me, deceit is basically deception and to manipulate you into thinking this or that, and it's not the case. So why is this so? With those that feel comfortable in telling lies and being deceitful, operate on a false platform to gain something, to hold on to something actually, or to someone, and it becomes an imbalance within the circle of life because they never should have got it in the first place if they told the truth. Because with truth, it fits like a puzzle. Lies don't fit, it actually cover up. So more importantly, it is Mr. Fear. And Mr. Fear, if you've just been following me, and I recommend you go read my other podcast, Mr. Fear to me is a spiritual type sense and something that you don't really see, but you feel the fear. So that's another example when I talk about the spiritual plane in that sense. It's something that you feel but you don't see, and people have fear and they don't do this, or they don't say this, or they don't get the courage, but they have this feeling that is so overwhelming. And I'm not really talking about anxiety, because Mr. Fear can feed off someone anxiety and blow it all up, and people don't move when they should move forward. So Mr. Fear only operates on the pursuit to allow lies that become a distorted part of a truth or of the whole truth. So it searches out for those that are in alignment to such falsehoods, or willing to compromise their sense of worth, of value, to get something or to hide something, or in a sense of regarding someone, okay, more likely someone. So who are we talking about? Well, it's those people that won't grow spiritually, or those people that are fearful of the truth, in a sense they don't believe that they can do it. And sometimes it can be an innocent feeling. Everybody feels second guess. I don't think I could do it. I don't think this. But then you got to come back and say, yeah, I can do it. And then admit when, well, I guess I couldn't do it, but I'm going to keep trying. You see, that's positive thinking. Whereas other people will say, well, I could do it, but really they can't. And it's some things that they need to work on, or some things that they need, or maybe it's just not the right time. But since they self-worth is dependent on the now, and depending on not waiting, having patience, they go into lying and being deceitful, or end up taking from someone or doing something that corresponds to not being in balance. So the person often feel not a part of something bigger when they want to. So initially thinking that the refusal of not getting what they felt that they need to get, lies and deceit comes more closer, and they're more tuned to something like that. And we have to remember that facts helps us to understand truth and for us to heal, because those that are lying about something or someone, it will come back to roost or karma. And we have to know that seeds will grow to what you reap. You will sow what you reap. It goes deeper in a sense that is spiritual, in the spiritual realm, that no one can escape, that he or she has to choose the right path, to always conduct themselves in truth, seek truth. When you don't, lies and deceit is the opposite of that, and it's in their conduct and deeds, and over time it get worse and worse and worse. The lies get bigger as you try to cover up the last lie, right? And you become not happy and miserable. So what are some examples of these lies and deceitfulness? How can we identify those in other people, or to make sure that we ain't following on that path? Okay, so you often see split personalities in people. Now this could be in the corporate world and this could be in your personal life. Okay, so lies and deceit don't discriminate, and I think that Mr. Fear also, it's in a way of a seduction to influence you to think that that's the only way that you can be able to get to where you want to be, or how you can feel about yourself, is to go ahead and lie or cover that up or manipulate somebody. So you create a split personality that is rampant by the people that conduct in that behavior on purpose, okay? On falsehoods and misrepresentation to others, that they wish to manipulate and coerce into agreeing and doing things that the liar wished them to be done for them. So over time the lies grow bolder and meaner to construct an objective that serves only their distorted belief platform. Okay, it is rooted in selfishness. Let's just get to the chase on that. So if not, the person wouldn't do that, and instead care about the damage that will be done once the truth is revealed to the person that they're hurting. So always remember that in truth we all heal. And in falsehood, the pain of unrest of our mental state, and especially the spiritual imbalance, will want havoc in those people lives nonstop, especially in the one that conducts the lying and do it on purpose and then get you all into it. And you're thinking one way, but really is this. And then when you realize that it is, it comes to the acceptance and you can't accept it. So then you go ahead with the lie. And it goes on and on. So the path of lies and deceit by the person aims to change what they wish to be to something that they want it to be, caused a disruption of their peace and your peace. And remember that they know what they are doing, especially over time when the little lies grow bolder and bigger, and the intent is to continue to do harm because they want to take away something from you or someone else, right? It always, at the end of the day, when you dig to the root, that's what it is. So how can you succeed when you see someone or you feel that, well, I've been doing this and it's on that path and I want to get off lies and deceit? You got to always aim in your mind. This is your strategy to succeed. The first thing is you got to always think in a sense to keep your mind and keep your focus on identifying the behaviors that falls into that realm of lies and deceit that you want to avoid. And people always get found out in time because time works in all of our lives, right? In a sense of revealing what we need to know while we're on the journey. So those that lie and use deceitfulness way to gain your respect and trust use certain behaviors related to passive aggressiveness or even direct aggressiveness, right? Bottom line, Mr. Fear encourages them to do it because Mr. Fear know their deep secrets of regret, sorrowfulness, and they low self-esteem. Okay, and I mean low self-esteem, because lies is actually, when the person say, okay, I'm gonna tell this lie, I'm gonna tell this lie, I'm gonna be deceitful to that, they have no trust in themselves. They do not believe in their ability to do better. So they take any type of criticism or any type of feedback wrong and don't look at it as a way, like I said earlier in my example of this podcast, to be honest. Say, well, yeah, I didn't do this, or I need to do this. This is something I can work on too. I'm just gonna try. It might take a while, but I'm gonna try and I'm gonna do the best that I can. Okay, because no one's perfect. People that choose, well, I'm just going to lie and say it is perfect and I'm going to make you believe I'm perfect and I'm going to gaslight you and do everything I can, is not accepting their worth, and they have low self-esteem and uses it to project on you, and lies and deceit mixes into that. Okay, so they do the deeds of the seeds that damage their spirit, that equals to their joyfulness, and ultimately their mental peace is an awful place of existence, right? That's where you get that term, misery loves company, leading to a state mind of misery. So choice and the balance of choice is vital to use for a strategy to succeed when those people are telling you lies. Okay, or you on the path and you've been lying and doing this. It's time to choose differently to what you really want in life, which is peace and happiness and joyfulness. And you have to be active of those that are around you, and you have to check yourself and, like, I got to limit that or remove it, most likely remove it, and choose, do you want them to stay around or leave, and reduce the contact again in the midst of all that foolishness. So that's the first strategy. Choose to identify what's the behavior, what's been going on by you or by others, and if you want them to stay around or not. Another strategy to succeed is to hone on is, how can you know they are actually lying and being deceitful when they play those split personalities, and then do the previous strategy by choosing if they need to stay in your life or not, where in the beginning the lies are very good and it fit along the line of believable, believe it, but then over time you realize that, hey, wait a minute, the truth surfaces, and like a tsunami wave you realize, wait a minute, oh, this is just a big lie, because lies can't stay on the top forever. It cannot be stopped. Truth cannot be stopped because it operates on the divine. And that's why most liars and deceitful people aim at your heart, and then they work on your mind and how you figure out things and do things against you. Okay? And they become skillful at it because they know what buttons to push and how to word it, that it becomes like it actually is true, but you just got to hold on to truth, because truth always surfaces and truth always arrives on a timeline that it's time for you to know. And you have to be prepared to not being stuck and don't move forward, and you got to move forward and understand that it's the best thing for you to do that, and to look at the previous strategy that I mentioned and to choose wisely that give you a happy life and a happy existence. Lies and deceit ain't really seeds, okay? If there is any type of seed, they're bad seeds or negative seeds that don't amount to nothing. So you have to think in that concept. So let's move to your task, to dusk to dawn. You have to be a soldier of truth, okay? That is willing to go the battlefield and wage a war for the sanctify of your mind and your spirit and your body. You know, those that partake in lying, you got to identify it and say, no, I'm done with it, okay? All right, you got to identify who those people are or your own behavior and get on the journey path that leads you to a happiness state of mind or a happiness state of existence, okay? And to know that it's worth the fight. And that's on the physical, but it moves to the spiritual. When you start putting things into place that reinforce what you want in life, okay? Because lies and deceit, year after year, decade after decade, if you look at those people that have done it and you finally realize the truth, their whole appearances change because it came down from the spiritual in the sense, right? Over time, it's just like when people say, well, emotional pain is worse than physical pain, because emotional pain, you don't see the wounds, but the physical pain, you see that instantly, right? You see the bruise, but the emotional pain, you don't see that until later, and then it manifests. And then you're like, oh my goodness, what's what's going on, right? Well, that's because that's the spiritual part, something that you feel but you don't see. They're telling a lie, and when they first start doing it, it's okay, but over time it don't. So your task to dusk to dawn is to make a declaration to you, for you to commit that no matter how hard it is, meaning that you accept the truth that is before you, that you would take a sip of time of truth when it's time for you to acknowledge it, that you would choose to remove those or stop doing the things that is lying, that is a lie, that is a deceitful, and operates on a negative plane of existence. But that's what lying and cheating and deceiving is at the end of the day. And you have to choose, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. Because your mental peace and your joyfulness in life, while on your journey, needs that declaration of intent and the doing of action forward for the best life. Lies and deceit is a pathway to misery. It's a pathway to no mental peace, confusion. It's a pathway to nowhere. And the spiritual is connected to the physical. That's why when you have physical things and you're like, oh, I have this, oh, I have money, I have this and this, but you're still miserable, that's what you feel, but you cannot actually point and see. It's inside and it's to the divine, and you have to take a look at that. And that's in your workplace. Because in workplace you got people lying and this and that, but you stay true to your truth in your heart, and in the end of all of that crap at work, you're going to pull through it. So your motivational takeaway today is that we cannot save everyone, because everybody has to make a choice to their own path, and that's not really our job. Okay, what is our role in your purpose, why you here and you're doing this and you're doing that, what you're good at, is to focus on that and live a life that you motivate others, that you aim for others to be the best that they can be. You be part of the beacon of light, okay, the circle of life. And that's how you influence people to choose to change their life. Okay? All right. Thank you. For joining me for my podcast episode from my podcast show, Surviving Your Journey to Success, just to give you some information to not only stay in contact, but with the other things that I offer. I provide career consultation, offering the first 30 minutes are free. Thereafter, there is a fee excess afterwards per hour and can be discussed on a case-by-case basis, depending on your need. So if it is an emergency and you need some consultation regarding your career or choices that you're about to make moving forward, in a sense, in your personal type objectives, then you can definitely contact me. The primary way to contact me is by email, which is info@nichelanderson.com. Now, I do have a toll-free number on my website. Now, that is actually only for webinars, when I'm doing like a free webinar and you're calling in. once that number is through that medium. And it's only really for that. So it's not really connected to me directly. Now, I am working on that, but for right now, it's not really. And when that changes, you would definitely get a notice of that to go forward. So just to recap, my primary way is info@nichelanderson.com. All right, so the other thing I want to share with you is that I also provide business courses and self-improvement courses. So that overall objective is to help you to create strategies that work for you, to get you motivated, to identify the ways to get your or keep your joy and your mental peace. So I do provide that on the basis of your objective to gain success, and as I like to say, sustain success. You can find information on my courses that I release on my official website, which is www.nichelanderson.com, and you can go there and you can look at the different courses that I am releasing that are available. These courses are self-paced. They will be identified if they're considered to be like live sessions on a regular basis, but for the most part they are self-paced. During that time, I do have live sessions that once you have signed up for the course, you will see that in the schedule of what days that I'm available live, that you can talk to me and we can go over the courses going forward, right, on those particular topics. So that information is basically on my website that you can go to, which is nichelanderson.com. Now, I want to do a special call out for listeners that I have seen in my stats that are following me, continue to follow me, which I am thankful for. Now, to get connected more, to stay connected, I'm asking you to consider to join my newsletter that I do send out. And to do that, you just have to submit, of course, your name and your email. I don't spam. You can always request to be taken off the list. I don't send thousands of emails because I don't like thousands of emails from a particular source. So I keep it in a way that's informative, of course, because obviously you like the content because you hear and you enjoy it and you're getting something from it, which pleases me. To expand that and to move forward and to get into other ways that I can expand what I'm trying to do is to form a newsletter, to get that set up in the sense that I'm communicating that I can send that out more quickly, actually, through a podcast or any type of thing or production that I'm doing, where a newsletter is more, in the sense, faster to get that contact and to send it out on blast, right? And more opportunity to send more content compared to like social media characters to be able to get that message out. So do consider that to join my newsletter by providing, and you can find that link at the end of each episode. I have that link to basically to sign up here for Nichel E-List Tips newsletter. And you could do that and you can see that and click, and it's a short form, online form. It is secured and you can complete that. All right. The other thing I want to talk about is basically to subscribe to this podcast. If you haven't, please go ahead. Of course, this is going through Podbean. I have 2 podcasts. This one, of course, you're listening to is Surviving Your Journey to Success. And you can subscribe. Of course, you should see the subscribe button here at the bottom of this episode or at the top, whichever device that you're using. Now, I'm also available on iHeartRadio, on Spotify, on Google Play, on iTunes, and any other podcast directories for feed distribution. You can connect that way and subscribe, and if you like it, share it. Now, I am on social media, and so you do hear me a lot talk about Twitter. I'm mostly active on Twitter. I'm also active on Facebook. For the most part right now is Twitter, and I like the whole concept of keeping it short and sweet. In my closing, I want to say thank you again for joining me today. Here is my closing statement for you. Be you that strengthens and inspires your ability to be strong in your journey endeavor. It's a good thing towards your mental peace and joy, always to your success.